YouTube, what's going on? Your boy Young Mustard has returned, and it has been a minute since I dropped another banger. But as you can tell by the title, we're gonna talk about everybody's favorite player except mine's, Trae Young. But before we go any further with this video, make sure y'all go and check out the latest episode of First Possession. It is up on Cryout TV. If you don't know what it is, it's just a little sports show that me and my guy Jono do. We talk about any sport topic in the NBA and NFL world. We also touch on some college sports here and there and some soccer. If you're interested in great sports content that is not mainstream media driven, make sure you go and check that out. The channel is in the description box down below. And if you missed it, we actually did a live stream a couple of days ago when the James Harden news broke. We did it on my channel. A card for that should be on the screen right about now. But without further ado, let's talk about Trae Young, because my oh my, something is wrong with Trae Young. So many people know me as this Trae Young hater because I didn't put too much stock in his season last year due to the fact that he just wasn't winning that many games. Yeah, it's easy to put up numbers when you're the sole option and you can kind of inflate certain parts of your game due to just having a lot of opportunities that you wouldn't have if there were other options on your team. Offensively, that Hawks team was terrible last year, and Trae was really the only thing keeping them together. But defensively, I think a lot of people excused Trae's inabilities on that side of the ball, as they had a couple of good defenders on that team. Kevin Huerter is a solid defender. Also, you have DeAndre Hunter, who's grown into one of the better defenders at his position, even this year taking a leap. And though Cam Reddish offensively was a bust last year, he was still a capable defender that contributed on that side of the ball. And I'm not saying everybody on defense was great outside of Trae. John Collins is not the greatest defender in the world, we all know that. There's a reason they went to go get Clint Capella to play the center position instead of having Collins do it. But let's just be fair here, Trae Young is easily the worst defender on that team and makes everybody's job that much harder whenever he's on the court, despite the fact that he's such a great offensive player. But it seems like even this year, with the additions of players like Gallinari, Bogdanovic, Rondo, even though all of them haven't really been healthy at the same time, I will admit, Trae Young's game has been so shaky, because despite the fact that they have some new players on the roster, you would expect Trae Young to at least be the constant of this team. But surprisingly, Trae has been very suspect, and it's really weird because he started off the year incredible, as in the first 5 games of the season, many people thought the Hawks looked like a playoff team, as they were really good, starting off 4-1 and even defeating the Brooklyn Nets with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving along the way. As during the first 5 games of the year, Trae Young would average 31 points along with facilitating 8 assists and grabbing nearly 5 rebounds. He shot 46 to 47% from the field, along with 35 to 36% from behind the arc and 91% at the charity stripe. But then after their Nets game, where Trae Young went to the line 16 times, I kid you not, Steve Nash came out and said, "That's not basketball." And for those who do not know, Trae Young is a huge fan of Steve Nash, and I believe that was his favorite player growing up. And if you watch Trae Young play, you can definitely see the influence on guys like Steve Nash and Steph Curry, obviously, on his game. But it seems like ever since then, Trae Young took his words to heart, as he doesn't even get to the line as much as he did in the first couple of games. As in the first 4 games of the season, before Steve Nash told him this, Trae Young was averaging nearly 16 free throw attempts a game. But ever since that moment where Steve Nash said that about Trae Young's game, about it not being quote-unquote real basketball, Trae Young's free throw attempts dropped from nearly 16 to 6. And to be honest, it's not even just the free throw attempts that is throwing a lot of people off about Trae Young's game. He just does not look confident so far in the games that they've played since that moment. As in the last 8 games of the season, Trae Young is averaging 18 points and facilitating 9 assists, but he's turning the ball over nearly 5 times a game, shooting 33% from the field, 22% from 3 on nearly 6 attempts per contest, while shooting 86% at the free throw line on, like I said earlier, 6 attempts a game in comparison to the nearly 16 a game that he was shooting in the first 4 games of the season. So to be fair to Trae Young, I gotta be honest, he's a person just like all of us. Now, I can't control what he does on the court. He's an NBA player. He should be above the fact that people are always going to hate on what they do, but you have to understand it from his perspective. His idol just told him the way he's playing basketball is not real basketball. That's gonna hurt you a little bit mentally, and it's gonna affect the way you play. Now, I don't expect Trae Young to continue playing as bad as he's been playing, but right now he's in a slump. And when it comes to shooters, whether it's Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Ray Allen, we've seen all of them have their slumps. Now, it does suck that this is happening this year, in a year that the Hawks kind of gave him everything that he wanted, because Trae Young said he couldn't really handle the pressure of being compared to Luka and he's not winning. So I can only imagine how the organization feels about his play, because they made all these moves this past offseason for him. They want Trae Young to be happy because he's the best thing that's happened to Atlanta. Well, I think he's actually the best thing that's happened to Atlanta since they went to the Super Bowl, and we all know how that ended. And I'm not trying to get into all of that. If you want to know my opinions on football, follow First Possession. But getting back to Trae Young in particular, I also think what a lot of people are forgetting is that they had a fairly easy schedule in the beginning of the year. They were beating teams like the Bulls, the Grizzlies, and also the Pistons. As much as I love my Bulls, we suck. The Pistons also suck. And the Grizzlies aren't even at full strength, as even before Ja got hurt at that time, they don't even have Jaren Jackson Jr. So as far as I'm concerned, a lot of people just overreacted to the hot start of the Atlanta Hawks, and I feel like they started holding Trae to that standard. Now, obviously, Trae's play has gotten worse. I'm not denying that. But you have to consider other factors that are affecting him mentally, and for a shooter, your mental state is very important. That's why they say when you're a shooter, you have to have amnesia of some kind, because you're going to have your good days and you're going to have your bad days. Hell, as much as I love Steph Curry, he's had his moments where he's just been completely off. And if you watch those days, he looks uninterested, he plays lackadaisical, he's turning it over a little bit more, and the overall team is affected due to the fact that he's the primary focus of every single defense. And now you look at Trae Young, and he's the primary focus of all these defenses. He probably really took it to heart when Steve Nash said what he said about him, and said his play style at that time wasn't basketball. Now, my advice to Trae is that you should not care that much what Steve Nash thinks. I understand he was your idol growing up. It's kind of like when Boruto got his thing stripped from Naruto. I don't know how many of you guys watch Boruto. I don't watch it that much, but I did see the meme on Twitter. It looked pretty sad. And Trae Young, he's probably going through that right now, as his play is reflecting that currently. And I also think, despite me always criticizing Trae Young, you need to look at the other guys on his team. We all know defensively Trae, he's not going to give you much, so you have to support him on the offensive side of the ball. The only person that's doing that consistently is DeAndre Hunter, and I guess Clint Capella, considering his expectations are fairly low anyways. John Collins has not stepped up offensively the way that I think a lot of people expected him to be that legit number 2 besides Trae Young. He hasn't really been that. Then you have Cam Reddish, who's shooting below 40% from the field and 33% from behind the arc. Let's not forget that Bogdan Bogdanovic has only played 9 games also, and Danilo Gallinari is out due to an ankle injury. Rondo even, who was one of their biggest pickups in the offseason, he's only played 4 games as well. And by the way, Chris Dunn has not played yet, and he was supposed to be a huge addition for their defense, especially in the backcourt alongside Trae Young in certain lineups. So this team is not even at full strength, and people are holding them to a standard that they set for themselves after what, 3 to 4 games against the Bulls and the Pistons? Please guys, let's calm down. Let's give them some more time, and then when we're like 40 games into the season, if this shit keeps going on with Trae Young and the Hawks continue to move in the direction that they're currently in, then we can bash Trae Young. And y'all know I definitely will hop on that, considering my history with him on this channel. But before I wrap this up, because that concludes this video, make sure you go and check out the latest episode of the Overtime podcast. We also dropped our reactions to the James Harden trade, the Kyrie Irving news, and some many more topics around the league. Players who are more likely to be traded now that James Harden is gone. Make sure you go and check it out. The link is in the description box down below, and a card should be on the screen. But without further ado, that concludes this video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a like. Let's try to get as many likes as possible. possible. I know you guys can do it. Make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram. The links are in the description box down below. This is your boy Young Mustard signing out. Y'all stay safe and have a great day. I'm out. Peace.